All right, welcome to the AM session, New York AM session for Friday's trading. Here we are again. Uh, One thing to note, I definitely like the relative equal highs buy sell liquidity that we engineered kinda in here. And and other than that, currently it seeks some measure of discount. We just sliced through the today's new day opening up. We have yet to reach the consecutive encroachment of that larger 4-hour inefficiency. And yeah, I mean, there is quite a chance that we will seek the low from Thursday. That's at 29,202.5. And the consecutive encroachment of the weekly suspension block would be something potentially on the table for today, but yeah, we'll see what we get. So yeah, since the 9:30 open, which is here, price just sliced lower without any run up. That was just like pre-session Judas. That's sent us lower, significantly clearing all the London session sales liquidity, digging into the Asian session liquidity, and the last line of defense is, I mean, the last uh, portion left is the previous day's low sales liquidity. We did left beautiful equal highs up there. I love those equal highs here also. And so far we tapped below this consecutive encroachment of that 4-hour inefficiency, but the bodies are staying above it. So that might be a little bit of bullishness coming into the mix. It's Friday, so mm, yeah. It's Friday, and this week was generally going lower for the most part. So yeah, when it comes to the first presented fair value gap for today, it's this one. That's the 931, and it takes this low out. Price was not able to come back into it yet, so I'm kind of suspecting and or favoring the idea that we might be gravitating towards this level during the silver bullet hour first, kinda. So I'm kinda viewing this as a potential draw on liquidity on the upside that might send us up there. So we'll see though, but that's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. And the volatility, this open looks quite a bit. So this is a potential inversion for value gap if we could go above it in here. Full highest buy side, very obvious, very easy objective on the upside to choose. Right, so about hour started, by the way, this minute. So currently we are poking into this CB and the new day opening up, but I'm thinking that if we could trade above it on a closing basis, any return to it should or could act as a potential inversion to send us towards the first presentation. All right, so no trade above it as it is right now. Sells a liquidity from the previous day's low. Roughly 80 handles below us. Yeah, seems somewhat heavy here. Seems like the previous day's low might be the stronger drawn liquidity at the moment. This candle offered an immediate rebalance, pretty much, to that larger down candle here. All right, so it's poking its head into this survival gap here. Again, it left somewhat of relatively lows. All right, so it's poking its head above this survival gap. Let's see if we can inverse it or not. This is also the end dock. It's taking the short-term buy-side liquidity at the same time. Formed a busy. Formed a busy here. Yeah, I want to see if there is a volume imbalance there or not. There is a small one, but there is one. And there is definitely a one up there. So that's the accurate. That's a suspension block here. Mm-hmm. So yeah, my mind kind of gravitates towards this previous day's low slightly more. Can we reach up into this first presentation here? Sure. I would say that would be reasonable expectation. But yeah, we'll see. Uh, well, 1 micro with this volatility is quite a bit, even. Uh, Kind of like a make or break type of point. It could send it lower from where it is. I feel like that seems kind of like a bait. But yeah, at the same time, the BC is being respected in the upper half. The bodies are not closing in the lower half, which kind of maintains the idea that it might attack those equal highs and into the first presentation, maybe. Yeah, at the same time, it's spending a little bit too much candles in here. So let's see. Well, it seems like it wants to drop though. So price went outside of this inefficiency here, not on a closing basis though, but on a week basis. So if it's any bullish in this area, it should shoot up on this next candle higher. If it's not, then the previous day's low is almost guaranteed. Yeah, and it's stretching. It might be in a rush now to get to that low. Let's see. Just take an equal low sell side for a good measure. Right, so what's going on right now? We've taken a relatively low sell side. We tapped into this key level with a weak body state outside of it. This could act as a potential inversion for value gap if it's bullish, right? Yeah, it's continuously weak and seeking that previous day's low. Yeah, I mean, the main issue that I personally have with going and shorting this is that we are quite extended after this drop from 930. Took many little short-term liquidity pools on the sell side. Doesn't mean we can't go there. I think we are going there, but yeah, that's usually what I don't necessarily like to engage with, but it's fine. Let me see, 5 minute chart. All right, so now we see a measure of rejection, a measure of displacement being very near to the low actually, but it's being denied currently, tapping back into this premium array, premium fair value gap. As always, right? Beautiful price action. Price is always perfect. Right, so we have a busy that was formed here. We are digging deeper. I mean, we're forming a deeper retracement now. back into this inversion for value gap, taking this short-term high. I still think that the stronger draw should be the previous day's low. Quite a rejection. All right, showing some energy here. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like the time where we might see a measure of retracement towards the first presentation. So this, if we close above that, we could see that act as a bullish inversion for value gap. And we would expect a quick run into that first presentation, attacking all of the buy liquidity on the near term. That's what I would expect though. Any comeback down into it would be somewhat viable in my mind. Looks like it's starting to run already here. Alright, so buying this as inversion for value gap, expecting a run towards those equal highs and the first presentation. Yeah, that would be a lovely run on the buy side. Anyone who was chasing this down there would be an easy pick to run above those equal highs and a very large or nice damage done if you come back to the first presentation now. Because at this point everyone wants the previous day's low, right? No one really sees this, I feel like. Well, I mean, I would love to see some speed out of it. Not seeing that yet. Mm. As long as it's not breaching this inversion for value gap on a closing basis, I'm kind of sticking to the idea. Well, right. So I'm saving the stop here. I'm not gonna feed it. taking a loss by hand, but yeah, still. Yeah, I wonder what it will do now. But yeah. But yeah, losing this inversion for value gap makes the lower low more likely. We didn't quite lost it on a closing basis yet. I mean, we closed below consecutive encroachment, not below it yet. So this is like the key moment, key point where it should or needed to reject and send it higher. It doesn't show that. It does not show that yet. But yeah, the bodies are still not closing below it, so this or the next candle would need to show like strong rejection, and that would be like the last chance, I would say, for it to prove itself on the upside, and then it probably would aggressively trade higher. But yeah, it's closing actually below it, almost trading to the lower CB, I mean BC, and yeah, let's watch still equal highs being sold to the public. But yeah, on the other hand, I like the fact that it couldn't even reach to this BC, right? I like that fact. So now as it's trading back above it, I would say it's a chance for a like a drawdown recuperation type of idea. And yeah, I would use a stop loss slightly below that low and target the original idea with the first presentation. But all I really want from this trade, if I obviously could get it, I don't know, I would just like to um, recoup a little bit of the drawdown that I took, and that's it. If it stops me out again, then yeah, I will just call it a day. All right, it's not really working with me here. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. Let's cancel the orders. I guess I got a little bit too ambitious in here for the end of the week. Mm, and yeah, I wouldn't say I abandoned the idea altogether, but yeah, I'm definitely not getting the cleanest shots. So yeah, I tried to recoup a little bit of drawdown, failed, and I'll be ending today with 167 and a half bucks of a net loss, and I will take it into the weekend. So, well, maybe not the ideal way to end the week, but it is what it is, I suppose. Regardless, it was a cool week. Mm, I still think it's gonna go. It's gonna push there. It's just being a little bit annoying. I feel like, but yeah, that's kind of like outside of the scope, I guess, at the moment. Maybe I should have just stick to the larger stop loss that was originally larger and something like that, because we are still at the point where the idea that I had is not 100% um, invalidated, right? Nothing really changed besides that we consolidated a bit, but yeah, this was this, I guess. And rules are rules. I had one mitigation trade, I had one trade that I closed by hand earlier. Um, and yeah, got a little bit messed up with this little setups. But yeah, it is what it is. Nonetheless, thanks everyone for watching today and this week. It was a pleasure as always. I wish you guys a wonderful weekend and see you next week with more silver bullet action. And yeah, I think that's going to be it.